verses within Matthew that are contradictory to the doctrine Jesus preached are in chapter 10, verses 34 through 36, and specifically the sections highlighted in blue within verses 34 and 35. First, the section in blue in verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. And now the blue section of verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father. And now for the corresponding story in the Gospel of the Holy 12, which is in the blue sections of verse 14 within lection 17. Verily, I am come to send peace on earth, but when I speak, behold, a sword followeth. Followed by, I am come to unite, but behold, a man shall be at variance with his father. It's interesting that the wording highlighted in blue within Matthew 10:34, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword, paints a picture of a person who is at odds with mankind and is here to cause trouble. However, when we examine the two blue sections within verse 14 of the Gospel of the Holy 12, we find a totally different image. Verily, I am come to send peace on earth, but when I speak, behold, a sword followeth. Followed by, I am come to unite, but behold, a man shall be at variance with his father. This image tells us Jesus is here to do good, and makes it clear the image created in Matthew 10, verses 34 and 35, is a false image, and it is the first of many that I will be disclosing in my New Testament documentaries. Next, I want to address the section highlighted in blue within Matthew 10, verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. I can find nowhere in Jesus' doctrine where he made that statement, or even one like it. However, the sections highlighted in blue within lection 72 in verse 4, Verily, verily, I say unto you, they who believe on me, the works that I do shall they do also. And the blue section in verse 8, They who have my commandments and keep them, these are they who love me. And they that love me shall be loved of my parent, and I will love them, and will manifest myself to them. And the section in blue within verse 10, They that love me not, keep not my sayings, clearly personify Jesus' teachings throughout the Gospel of the Holy 12. And they make clear Matthew 10:37 is another false teaching that is of men to suit the needs and traditions of men. Next, let's take a look at the section in blue within Matthew 15, verse 4. For God commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. If one takes the time to examine the same story in the Gospel of the Holy 12, lection 43, verses 10 through 16, they will not find anything to support Matthew 15:4. Before moving on, I want to take a few moments to examine the sections highlighted in blue within verses 13 and 14 of lection 25. Verse 13, I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you. And verse 14, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. Since Jesus taught as he did in verses 13 and 14 of lection 25, it makes it clear that Matthew 15:4 is another false teaching that is of men to suit the needs and traditions of men. Matthew 21:19-21 tells the story about Jesus being hungry while walking with his disciples out of Bethany. The group came upon a fig tree bearing no fruit, and because it had no fruit, Jesus supposedly condemned it, as is shown in the blue section of verse 21. Let no fruit grow on thee henceforward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. Then in the section highlighted in blue within verse 21, Jesus supposedly said, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree. This statement glorifies the negative act he supposedly committed in verse 19, an act that creates a vindictive image of him, just as a vindictive image of God was created in Genesis, Exodus, and other books of the Old Testament. However, the corresponding story in the Gospel of the Holy 12, which is in Lection 70:1-4, we find that it was Christ's disciple Peter who accursed the fig tree. First, the blue section in verse 1. As they were coming from Bethany, Peter was hungry, followed by the blue section in verse 2. Peter was angry, and said unto it, Accursed tree, no man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. Succeeded by the section highlighted in blue within verse 3. Peter said unto Jesus, Master, behold, the fig tree which I cursed is green and flourishing. Wherefore did not my word prevail? And finalized by the section in blue of verse 4. Jesus said unto Peter, Thou knowest not what spirit thou art of? Wherefore didst thou curse that which God hath not cursed? The sections highlighted in blue portray the true image of Jesus, which is a caring, loving image, whereas the vindictive image created in Matthew 21:19-21 is another false teaching that is of men to suit the needs and traditions of men. This concludes Part 2, and Part 3, which is about 11 minutes in length, addresses misleading teachings within Matthew regarding Judas Iscariot, as well as his betrayal of Jesus. It also addresses very important differences in the story of the Last Supper as it is recorded in Matthew from the way it is recorded in the Gospel of the Holy 12. And it is very apparent that it has absolutely nothing to do with translation issues. The link for Part 3 is in the description section of this YouTube video. God bless.